Good day, you devilish demons. It's Dave here, bringing you your daily Destiny video. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 weapons I've used by the kill tracker stats, asterisks, since trackers became mandatory, because I never used to use trackers. I just never put them on. So, going to look at each of them, explain how I've used them, and the reason why they have stats as higher than the other weapons. So, let's jump straight into it. So, starting off at number 10, we have the iterative loop. So, arc fusion rifle here. Fusion rifles are very good. I like these in PvE more than shotguns, because they do have that close range damage, but they just have that bit more range there as well when needed. The reason why I've used this one a lot is mainly because of arc. You have a lot of arc surges, it seems, around. And lead from gold is also a very nice perk. Since they buffed the being able to do double specials, a good way around that is by using this perk here. So from lead from gold is when you pick up heavy ammo, it also gives you ammo for this weapon as well. So using something like an exotic primary, you'll drop loads of heavy ammo, which is also going to pile up for this. So you can use this more. If you're using two specials, having one with lead from gold, just puts a bit of that ammo worry out of your mind on there. It's also got a very nice charge time at 460 there. And we've got Volt Shot, which of course very good when you're using arc on there, because it causes jolts. And of course jolts you can turn into your buffs. And nanotech tracer rockets, which again this season have been very good because you've been able to boost these through your artifact. So I've used this very lot this season. This is the newest one on the list, and it deserves its space there. Generally my favourite fusion rifle around at the moment. I do like the exotic arc one. Generally I'm not going to be using that in my exotic slot. So we've got Mr. Loop at number 10. Coming in at number 9 with 2,715, we've got Ager's Scepter. Really fun weapon to use when you want to use stasis. This will generate you stasis crystals like they're going out of fashion essentially there. So you got your stasis finest blows, transfer ammo to the weapons magazine from reserve, so very good for clearing a lot of enemies. And also if you're sustained damaging on something, you're going to be freezing it a lot. It does have the side perk as well, because a lot of stasis supers are a little bit hit and miss. You can drain your super energy, overflowing the magazine and then powering the beam with bonus damage. So you can also trade in your super to increase this weapon. Generally, if you're going to be running a stasis build and you don't need the exotic slot and anything else, I advise giving this a try, because it is generally so much fun, and the synergy with stasis builds is amazing. You're going to probably want to put on your leg mod that turns the crystals into armor charges. But the one downside of this weapon is being stasis, and stasis has been a little bit stowed for now. You generally don't get a lot of surges with stasis, because generally everything is strand, and that will come relevant in a minute. Coming in at number 8, we've got the Insidious Pulse Rifle. This is from the Vow of the Disciple raid. And as you see, I've got Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie on this weapon. And you've got these additional perks, Soul Drinker, so gain health based on the number of hits before reloading. So this has got 3,729 enemies defeated. And generally I use this a lot when the early times when I was doing endgame content, because I wouldn't be that aggressive. I want to keep a distance. I'd generally be using a lot of grenades because I was a warlock. So having Demolitionist, which refills your magazine when you throw a grenade, and Adrenaline Junkie, which gives you damage boosts back and forth between the weapon and the grenades, are generally great synergy there on that. I went for a tactical mag. I'm not quite sure why I went for a tactical mag. I guess it was just the all-round reload speed and increasing the magazine size on that one there. But essentially, pulse rifles don't get a lot of play in PvP these days. But if you are newer to endgame content, you want to keep a distance from things but still be effective in them, it's a very good pulse rifle to use, especially if you don't have those resilience numbers up. But even in GM, 10 resilience is a little bit hit and miss. But you have other things that do buff you for close range combat. But if you're not using that, perfect weapon to use, and quite enjoyable to use. It does feel very nice to shoot. It looks sexy as well, let's face it. Okay, I can't explain number 7. I genuinely can't tell you why I was using this weapon. Was there not a decent solo auto rifle for a season that I was playing a lot? But we got 4,766 kills with this gun. So killing wind, final blows grant increased mobility, weapon range and handling. Okay, and thrash. Killing combats with this weapon generates a small amount of super energy. I think there was a season where I was abusing wells a lot. I think I was using this for solar synergy with thrash, with a Phoenix protocol, to be able to instantly just well and then get another well and another well. I think that's how I was using this, but if you can explain it, pop it down in the comments, because I generally can't tell you why I was using this weapon as much as I had used this weapon. I mean, I've not used it for a long time because I've not increased its power, but since it was stat started to up to 1600, apparently it was my go-to weapon. But yet, can't tell you for the life of me why. Alright, coming at number 6, we have the Canis mini tool. So, submachine guns, always great, very powerful, especially if you don't need the long range, you're confident to get up there close. What I was synergizing this with a lot was sun braces on a warlock. So, you got your incandescent, so you got your scorches there, which are going to help you when you click your fingers to get those kills and to get those explosions. I went a little bit off board, I think, with the second perk. There's probably better ones out there for you. I went for Unrelenting because I was getting health regeneration back. I used this a lot before the solar grenades heal you came in. But essentially, I used this because I was just using this to build up the scorch damages, to get the melee kills, to get the infinite grenades. So being able to kill with this when I needed healing was something that was very useful to me. It was a bit of give and take on there, but you could find things more powerful than Unrelenting to put on here. But for me, I like this and it worked very nice. And to excess, so final blows with this weapon while your super is full, grant a bonus to strength and discipline for a moderate duration. So with some races, you need to get your melee back quickly. And if you whiff one and it goes wide, or you miss your target so they don't explode, being able to build that strength back up is very useful with this. And generally I wouldn't be using wells a lot while using sun braces because I'd be mobility. You're running around, so it's click, kill things, grenade, 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 as you're jumping around and throwing those. So having that backup for when you do whiff your discipline is a very nice thing to have, and this is why we've got 5,042 kills with this weapon, and yet I haven't used it since 1810 was the cap. And number 5, we have the weapon that annoys the people that I play with. They absolutely hate this role. As you see, I've got 5,165 kills with it, so I've been loving this. So this is a bit of a unique thing. As a warlock, I like strand, and I like to try and abuse my threadlings. So with this, with hatchlings, precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with non-precision weapon spawns a threadling at the target location. So if you're powering up the threadlings, that's a very useful thing to have. And reconstruction, yes, there's going to be people who have a go at me for having this on a primary. This weapon reloads itself at an improved rate over time, up to double capacity. So as you see, I've got a adapt mag in this, appended mag. I've basically done everything I can to get the magazine size up to 72. So when this goes to double capacity and I pull it out in a fight, I'm starting off with 144 bullets, which basically means I'm not reloading. And this thing fires fast, fires very fast on there. So I'm making a lot of hatchlings from this. This is the reason I'm using this build. And being an adept just means that I could use the adept mag to make the magazine even bigger on there. You could probably use a Reaper's Fury and craft it and get something very similar. But I just like the fact that I got this adept roll. I loved it. People got angry with me, which probably made me did use it a little bit more. So probably not the best thing to do. There's probably better rolls out there. But if you're doing a threadling warlock build, this is very, very useful, in my opinion. And also, we seem to have an awful lot of auto rifles. The reason for that, a lot of endgame content over the last couple of seasons, auto rifles, anti-barrier. So they've been something I've used a lot for that. So they've been sort of synergizing with champion mods on there. There's a reason why you're probably going to see more auto rifles and SMGs on here. And plus, I think I have a few more SMGs that I use, so the kills are spread around a little bit more on my SMGs. Okay, at number 4, we've got explosive personality. Again, I've gone and think against the norm on these roles here. So, sorry if you're a new player, I don't know how useful this will be to you, but it's a different look at Destiny from what the normal roles you are suggested to get. So, a wave frame grenade launcher, so it hits the ground and it sends out a wave of damage to it. The land tank, so final blows with this weapon grant increased resiliency and additional damage resistance from combatants. I've put unrelenting on this. So repeatedly defeating targets, improved health regeneration. So it was very much a staying alive double perk that I was doing with this. So essentially when I was using this I could be very, very aggressive and not have to worry too much about the healing perks that were around me. Again, I may have to change this up because with solar grenades healing you now, this may be slightly less necessary, but I liked it and it worked for me and it was a really good flow. And of course with a grenade launcher, auto-loading holster is amazing. You can only fit one bullet in it before you have to reload it. So essentially with grenade launchers like this, you want to be able to shoot, switch your weapon, and then use that weapon, and you switch back to here, and that's what I was doing to get my additional damage from that. But with 6,168 kills, it's safely in the 4th spot there. And also a very disgusting skin on it, but you know, you love the ugly. Okay, in the number 3 spot, a fan favourite for a lot of people, the Osteothliga. So this weapon is the poisoned dream. So if you're using poison stuff like the Necro gloves on there, which poison people when you melee them, this really will help with that. So for the perks, we've got landing a final blow or multiple precision hits, triggers a burst that poisons nearby targets, so that's stacking. And greatly increased handling speed, so very good for switching it around on there. And poison final blows return ammo to the magazine. So again, very good for keeping that loop, especially when you add clearing, because you kill something, boom, blows up. The poison goes to the other things, and when that poison blows up and kills those things, then you're getting that ammo back, so you can just continually keep going with this. And it makes a very good noise as well. It doesn't sound like it's screeching, but it does, and it's funny on there. So this is a very good, just all-round exotic on there. There used to be some glitches you could use with this where you kept the poison on. I think most of them are being fixed now, but I also generally like using this weapon in PvP. It's a bit awkward to use in PvP because the damage gets delayed because the bullets are so slow. You do have to remember that when the guy's at about 20%, you're actually going to leave the fight at that moment because he's probably about to die. If you push it all the way to the death, he's going to have an extra half a second to kill you anyway, and you're going to keep exchanging kills like that. But I've used this a lot in PvE, as you can tell, as we got 7,743 kills on this, and it's looking beautiful. But one of the best ad clearing guns in the game, essentially. A must-have if you can get one of these. Okay, number 2, we have yet again another exotic, and yet again another auto rifle at 8,380 kills. One of the big reasons I have overused this so much is because surges. There's been so many strand surges in the more difficult content that generally I've used this, and also again, like I mentioned earlier, auto rifles, anti-barrier do work very nicely. But this gun does have a little trick up its sleeve, and the reason I do quite love this gun is because a lot of the auto rifles, the problem you've got is when you come up to more dangerous enemies, they're just not going to do anything. So we have grenade chaser. So landing multiple rockets loads of grenades, and the rockets come from the nanotech rockets, and it does work with that in the artifact this season. So once you hit some shots with it, you've got 3 little dots on your reticle. You'll see them light up. When you hold your reload, that'll load these 3 into the magazine. And if you're doing something like a master lost sector, these 3 grenades will kill a champion. And you shoot, shoot, shoot. with it. So you can essentially save on special ammo by abusing the grenades that come out of this gun. In my opinion, this is probably the most overpowered weapon in the game at the moment, because not only is it an exotic primary, so it's going to give you a lot of ammo from there. You've got the being an auto rifle, so it's an all-rounder, and you've got the grenade chasers there as well, which really do pack a punch. Essentially, it's like having a grenade launcher just on you with like spike grenades. And 8,380 kills. I think you can see the reason why I have used this. I generally didn't use it before it became Strand on there, because kinetic you can use, they do have damage bonuses, but especially this season when you can put on Strand and arc weapons, or void and solar, give you orbs. You can synergize this quite nicely with those other things, because this is Strand on there. Nanotech rockets again, artifact, and grenades. Generally a very good one to keep in mind, this one. I do really like this weapon. And in our number 1 slot, with 50,456 kills, we have the Hord. Do I need to say anything about this weapon? Okay, I will. So the Hord, it shoots a blight ball. If the blight ball hits the target, it will damage that target over time. If it hits the floor, it will create an area of damage. So it's a very good multi-use weapon. Big target, you want to hit your targets with it. Or you can throw this at doors where things are spawning. Or when you see those spawn bubbles where things are spawning in, or the spawn auras, just throw one of these on there, and everything spawning in that area is going to die. So let's look at it. So we got blighted targets take damage over time and blight the nearby area on death. So that's the other thing. When you hit the target with it and it dies, it's going to drop one on the floor anyway, and it's going to do damage there. Composite stock, so slightly increased ability and handling speed. So the reason why this having handling speed is good is because the catalyst is an auto-loading holster. But you remember me talking earlier about how good it was grenade launchers had auto-loading holsters. So when I used to run this, and I don't run it so much now, but I would use this continually. I would never run out of ammo with it, because the ammo usage on it and the amount of damage you can get with this is ridiculous. Slightly nerfed nowadays. But essentially, you could shoot with this, switch back, use whatever you ever want to use, switch back to shoot, switch back, and you can do that continually through a fight. And as long as you're not whiffing every shot, you can have enough ammo to keep this going 24/7 on there. You can also use this on bosses, so you can hit the boss with this. You can switch your heavy and start shooting with that, because this will be doing its damage over time, and then switch back to this after it's got auto-loaded, hit them again, and come back. Remember though that only 2 people can sort of use this on bosses. So one person can hit the boss, which is the better damage, but one person can also hit the floor, and those 2 damages will stack. But any more than that, you're not going to be getting any use out of that. So if you do want to use this weapon, just be a bit considerate when you're raiding, and ask those people who you're raiding with if anyone else is using this, because you don't want to be stacking too many of these. But as you can see, I did get a bit obsessed with this weapon, and a lot of my Destiny career was based around this weapon. And I would say for new players or people getting into the game, this is the best weapon to use. It's such a great all-rounder. You got that single enemy damage. You've got the area of effect damage. Your single damage hits will then fall on the floor and do multiple damage. You can see something spawning in. You can just shoot one of these at it and run off and get on with your day. So you don't need to be hanging around waiting for that stuff to spawn. You can pre-shoot and just leave it there to kill anything that's going to be spawning in. So I love this weapon. I haven't actually used it very recently, because again, I've generally been using Strand and the auto rifle that we saw previously. But as you can see by the enemies defeated, yeah, this one was a little bit of an obsession for quite a while, this one on there. But anyway, that's my top 10 weapons by enemies defeated. And you devilish demons, you go out there and enjoy the world. Iterative loop, iterative loop, iterative loop, iterative loop, iterative loop.